Living Local Carolina with Katie Turner. Local trends, shopping, dining, and more. This is Living Local Carolina.
The following portion of Living Local Carolina is sponsored by Soteria Protection Services. We're having a great day today on Living Local Carolina because today I am joined by Joan and Brandon from Soteria. How are you guys doing?
Great, thank you.
All right, this is kind of the first of our kind here on Living Local. We've never had somebody from y'all's industry, for lack of a better word. So why don't one of you tell me what Soteria Protection Services is and a little bit about the name and where it comes from?
Okay. Well, Soteria Protection Services is an executive protection firm. And often people think of executive protection as just bodyguards, which we certainly are, but there's much, much more to it. And we can tell you a little bit about some of our other services that will amplify that. But first of all, let me say Soteria is actually, in Greek mythology, a goddess who personifies safety and deliverance from danger. So we felt like that was an appropriate name for our firm since that's really the underlying ethos of what we do.
Exactly, and it takes some training in order to be able to do this very well. So why don't you tell me about your background?
So I spent an enlistment in the Marine Corps, did 4 years. I was a military policeman, and then I became a canine cop. After that, I worked for the government for probably 5 years as a private security contractor. At that time, I deployed multiple times overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan as a PSD team member and leader, and also a canine handler.
Gotcha. So we talk about the term executive protection. What exactly does that mean and who needs it, essentially?
So EP work can be celebrities or, a bunch of kids that need to get a ride to school. It's not what people think. It's not just for the wealthy. And that's the point we'd like to get across there.
Was there anything that you guys didn't mention that you wanted to mention?
Yeah, there are other services.
We offer bug sweeps, TSCM sweeps as well.
Okay.
And that's looking for hidden cameras, high-powered magnets where somebody's maybe tracking your vehicle. So there's a wide range of stuff that we can offer.
And the Airbnbs and also rental properties now have policies where they do not want any type of surveillance in the unit. So we can ensure the guests and the property owners who may not know if something was accidentally left in their unit, we can detect those devices and make them aware of those. I would also mention that we offer a service to both commercial and residential clients in what we call post-storm protection services, property protection services. And as we're very familiar here on the Grand Strand, hurricanes and storms can cause flooding and other problems and chaos, mostly in the aftermath of the storm. So our agents can be on the ground representing the property owner's best interest, again, whether it be commercial property or private residential property. And that's very helpful in terms of getting immediate damage reports. It helps with insurance, it helps with repairs, and also just peace of mind, particularly if you're somewhere else, if you've been evacuated, or as an owner, you're located somewhere else.
Great deterrent for looting.
Yes.
Somebody
yes.
on scene.
Sure. Yeah, controlling access to that property. Even like, nosy neighbors, you don't want them on your property, but just controlling access to their property, coordinating with law enforcement. Again, in the aftermath of a situation like that, there's a lot of chaos, and it can really be helpful to have an agent on the ground representing your best interests.
The following portion of Living Local Carolina is sponsored by Soteria Protection Services.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Well, thanks so much for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. Today I'm joined in the studio with Charles from Long Bay Symphony. How are you doing?
Just fine, thanks.
Awesome. Okay, tell everybody a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm the music director of the Long Bay Symphony, which is this region's professional orchestra. And you know, it's funny because as much as we've been around, I think, gosh, it's, and now I can't remember exactly, it's our 36th, 37th season. Wow. They're going to kill me in the office for not remembering the exact year. But we've been around a while, but for a cultural institution, it's not that long. And since people are, you know, it's so transient, people are constantly moving into this area from primarily the Northeast or the Charlotte area or wherever. And it's amazing how, in spite of all we do, people don't know they have a professional symphony orchestra in town. Yeah. So we do, of course, our traditional subscription concerts, classical things, and try to make that as varied as possible using, you know, ballet dancers and, you know, just as much variety as we can. But our biggest thrust over the past several years has been to do more diverse programming and more outreach. So we've done things like the New Year's Eve concert that we do and a gala, to, of course, Messiah performances in December. Also a Gullah to Gospel program involving a mass gospel choir in March. We've done patriotic war and peace concerts for the past several years over Veterans Day weekend. And so we're just out there in the community reaching all segments of the community, with a lot of those concerts being free, sponsored by the Chapin Foundation and other organizations. So that's kind of our mission, is to be out there and be a part of this community. And it's amazing, invariably after a concert, I'll have someone come up to me and say, "Oh, this was amazing. I had no idea we had a professional orchestra in this area." Which is sort of why I'm here today.
Yeah, we're spreading the word.
Yeah.
And these are talented musicians that deserve to, you know, get some spotlight on them.
Our musicians basically play in orchestras throughout the region, in the South Carolina Philharmonic, Wilmington, Charleston, you know, all of the general area, and they just travel. A lot of them are professors at universities, or, you know, so it's, you just go where the activity is.
I love it. Well, welcome back to Living Local Carolina. If you're looking for something to do this holiday season and you love music, well, don't I have a treat for you today? I'm joined by Dedrick. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to know a little bit more about the auditorium itself. You said it's a historic auditorium.
Well, the building, built 1908, it was a part of the original Winyah High School in Georgetown. That high school burned, and subsequently, well, it was already in place, a plan to create Georgetown, which was a merger of Howard High School and Winyah. There were some folk who were from town, led by, Miss Cribb, who was a secretary at Winyah High School, and a band of folk got together to save the auditorium, turned it into a nonprofit, and all these years later, we are now putting on live musical performances and open as a hub to the community.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And people can enjoy it for years to come, too.
People can enjoy it. We work to preserve the building, number one, and then to bring live musical performances that can foster cultural arts in our community.
Cool. Anything in store that you can tell me about 2024?
We're planning a great 2024, but what you can do is stay up with us on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, and check our website, winyahauditorium.org.
Perfect. Is there anything else that I need to know?
Well, we would like for as many people that is able to attend our shows. And as I tell the folk that do attend, probably one of the best things you can do is talk up your experience at the Winyah Auditorium so that it can get other people involved. Music heals the soul, it touches the soul. So we offer something for everyone, and we hope that everyone can come and enjoy what they get.
Doesn't get better than that?
I hope not. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll be back right after this break with more Living Local Carolina.
Well, thanks for joining us today on Living Local Carolina. I am at ESA Fitness Club with Terrence. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I have some questions for you.
All right, I'm ready to answer.
First question, what does ESA stand for?
ESA stands for Enhanced Speed and Agility.
Okay.
Yeah, so most people come to me to get faster, to get more agile, to have more mobility, and more explosiveness. So
Love
yeah.
that. Well, give me a little bit about your background. How did you get into this?
I got into it after I was training for the NFL, and I had a trainer in college. And then I went up to Maryland after I played in the All-Star game my senior year, and I trained with Vernon Davis trainer, and it kind of opened my eyes to a lot more different style of training than what I was getting in college.
Interesting.
And then I was in the CFL in rookie camp with the Montreal Alouettes, and got cut from there, came back home, and started coaching and started training some kids. I put a speed and agility clinic on, got it sponsored, had about 40 kids come out. It was amazing.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, I like it a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I just opened a facility with about 4 or 5 clients, $1,000 in a 1,000 square foot facility. And that
here
was
we
12
are.
years ago. Yeah.
Wow.
And now I'm here.
Now we're here, and what is this location? It's pretty prime, man, I gotta say.
Yeah, it's so this is downtown redevelopment zone, okay? Right, smack dead in the middle of downtown Myrtle Beach is
Yeah.
515 9th Avenue North, and I've been in this building for about a year.
Okay.
So I decided to come down here, one, to be a part of the community, be a part of the redevelopment and all the stuff that's going on downtown. So I just, took a risk, and so far it's been pretty good. We got a lot of neighbors coming down on this street,
Yeah.
and I like the plans that's what's happening down here. So I just wanted to be a part of some growth and be on the beginning of the stages, and that also actually ask what we think and what we want to do, and so it's pretty cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the typical client that you see on a daily basis? I know that you have all these different sports painted up on the wall,
Yeah.
which he did himself, by the way. Love that.
Yeah. A typical client is a high school and a middle school athlete. I do some 4th and 5th graders. I kind of start around 10 years old. That's kind of like my stopping point.
Yeah.
I've had some 9-year-olds that were pretty mentally there, that can stay locked in the whole session. And then when the seasons kind of change, I get my college guys and girls coming back in, and then I get some of my professional athletes. They'll drop in. I can't just rely on college and pro athletes, because their seasons are longer in that at school. But most of my clientele are high school and middle school athletes, so we're trying to build them up. But the key is catch them in middle school. So by the time they get to high school, by the time they're juniors and seniors, they're 10 times better, and to give them a better chance to either go to college or make their varsity squad.
Yeah.
So that's the typical. And I also do adult personal training as well. So in the morning times, that's what I spend my time with doing.
I think a lot of people wonder where these great athletes come from, and I think a lot of times this is the thing that really makes the biggest difference for kids.
Don't forget to like our page on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. How to use the QR code. Just open the camera app on your smartphone, iPad, or tablet. Point your device at the QR code so the QR code appears on your screen. Your device will recognize the QR code and show you a notification. Click that notification and you'll come to our website. Living Local Carolina, weekday mornings at 9:30 on WBTW News 13.